Let's begin with a question. What would you do for 45.6 billion won? Would you risk everything? Your pride, your life, your humanity? Imagine being so desperate that you willingly enter a deadly game, knowing only one of you will make it out alive. That's the reality for 456 contestants. This isn't just a fictional dystopia. Perhaps it's a commentary on the world we live in today. When Squid Game first aired, it shocked the world with its brutality. Squid Game creator Hwang Dong-hyuk drew from his own struggles, selling his laptop for money, watching the gap between rich and poor grow wider, and feeling trapped in a system designed to crush the weak. Does that sound familiar? It should, because millions around the world live that reality every day. Think about your childhood games. Simple, innocent, fun. Now, at life and death stakes. From red light, green light to the titular Squid Game. These games tap into our primal instincts to survive. But they're also reminders of how the rules of society shape and often destroy us. Every player in the arena is crushed under the weight of debt, betrayal, and a society that's already written them off. In real life, millions live this reality every day. People work 3 jobs, risk their lives in unsafe workplaces, or gamble everything they have on a slim chance at survival. If you've read The Hunger Games, you'll see the eerie similarities. A dystopian society, deadly games, the rich watching the poor fight for survival. It's all there. But unlike The Hunger Games, Squid Game hits closer to home. It's not about a distant future. It's about now. It's about us. So why does Squid Game grip us so tightly? Because it forces us to ask hard questions. Are we players in this system, desperately trying to win? Or are we spectators, enjoying the spectacle? Or worse, are we part of the system that profits from it all? Now, let's dive into the mind of a Squid Game player. Why would someone willingly risk their life for a shot at wealth? The answer lies in what psychologists call the scarcity mindset. When resources are limited, our brains focus solely on survival. Logic fades. Morality blurs. Choices that once seemed unthinkable become the only options. This is why the players betray each other, why friendships dissolve, and why the games become a savage fight for dominance. When you're drowning in debt or living paycheck to paycheck, you're willing to take risks you'd never consider otherwise. This is why the players return to the game, even after seeing its horrors. They're not just fighting for money. They're fighting for a way out of a system that has already sentenced them to slow, invisible death. Think about it. Housing prices soar, wages stagnate, and the middle class crumbles. In such a world, desperation isn't a choice, it's a consequence. Players in Squid Game aren't just competing for cash, they're clawing for a second chance at dignity. And the show's creator, Hwang Dong-hyuk, knows this struggle all too well. But here's where it gets chilling. While the poor risk their lives for money, the rich watch from plush armchairs, sipping wine, and placing bets. VIPs, the masked elites in Squid Game who bet on human lives like their horses. These VIPs embody the exploitative elite, those who profit off the labor and pain of the less fortunate. It's grotesque, but is it really so different from the way billionaires thrive while millions starve? The rich exploit this mindset. They understand that desperation makes people predictable, and predictability makes them profitable. This dynamic mirrors real-world systems where corporations and elites capitalize on poverty, offering loans with predatory interest rates or jobs with soul-crushing conditions. They're not villains created in some writer's imagination. They're real. Think about it. The billion-dollar gambling industry, the exploitation of workers in sweatshops, and even the high-stakes reality shows we binge-watch. It's all part of the same cycle. The rich profit from the desperation of the poor, whether it's through entertainment, labor, or sheer manipulation of systems designed to keep the powerless exactly where they are. The rich, the elites. People are so detached from reality that they see others' pain as entertainment. This isn't far from the truth. From high-stakes gambling to exploitative reality shows, the rich have always turned the struggles of the poor into a spectacle. Think about it. How different is betting on players in Squid Game from betting on horses? The psychology here is chilling. But why? Why do the wealthy thrive on this kind of spectacle? Here's the psychology. When you have everything, you crave something more. a thrill, a sense of control, the power to manipulate lives like pieces on a chessboard. Psychologists call this moral disengagement. It's how the VIPs in Squid Game can laugh at death. It's also why society turns a blind eye to injustice, as long as it's entertaining. What makes Squid Game even more sinister is its political undertones. The games are a microcosm of South Korea's hyper-competitive society. The show critiques not just capitalism but also the societal obsession with winners and losers. Consider this. The games, a grotesque parody of childhood innocence, represent the twisted way society pits us against each other. Whether it's vying for promotions, competing for college admissions, or simply trying to survive, the system thrives on division. Divide and conquer, after all, isn't just a strategy. It's a way of life. At its core, Squid Game isn't just about capitalism or politics. It's about us. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about human nature. Why do we root for some players and despise others? Why do we feel satisfaction when a villain meets their end, even if it means celebrating violence? The answer lies in our primal instincts. Survival, power, and greed aren't just themes in the show. They're ingrained in our DNA. And the VIPs? They're a reflection of our darker selves, the part of us that enjoys the spectacle, that consumes stories of suffering for entertainment. Are we so different from them when we binge-watch a show like this? What makes Squid Game stand out isn't just its brutal honesty about society, but the profound questions it raises about morality, survival, and the human condition. Take the alliances in the game, for example. They begin as fragile partnerships based on mutual benefit, but often devolve into betrayal and self-preservation. These dynamics aren't just fictional. They echo real-life situations where trust becomes a luxury and survival instincts take over. The symbolism of the games. Let's take a closer look at the games themselves. On the surface, they're twisted versions of childhood classics. But beneath the simplicity lies profound symbolism. Each game mirrors societal struggles. Red light, green light. The illusion of freedom, where one misstep under authoritarian control leads to destruction. The honeycomb game. A test of patience and precision in a society that demands perfection under immense pressure. Tug of war. A raw representation of strength versus strategy, mirroring how teamwork can triumph over brute force, if only briefly. Marbles. The cruelest game, where trust and betrayal collide, reflecting the fragility of human relationships under duress. The glass bridge. A literal leap of faith, representing the unpredictability of life and the risks the poor are forced to take daily. The final Squid Game. A metaphor for the ultimate battle of survival in a world where the rules are rigged against you from the start. Each game strips the players down to their core, exposing their fears, desires, and morality, or lack thereof. But what's more haunting is how the games are a microcosm of the real world. Just like in life, the outcomes are often determined not by merit, but by chance, privilege, and who you know. So, where does that leave us? Squid Game isn't just a show. It's a mirror, a warning, and a challenge. It forces us to question the systems we live in, the roles we play, and the values we hold dear. It's easy to point fingers at the VIPs or the players, but the real question is, what would you do in their shoes? Hwang Dong-hyuk created Squid Game not just as entertainment, but as a wake-up call, a brutal, unflinching look at the cost of unchecked capitalism and human greed. And now, with Season 2 on the horizon, the stakes are even higher. Will it deepen the narrative or falter under the weight of its predecessor? Critics are divided, but one thing's for sure. The games are far from over. So, are you ready to step into the arena again? Or will you stay on the sidelines, watching, judging, and questioning what role you truly play in this global spectacle? Let's face it, the games don't just happen in that fictional arena. They happen in the real world every day. Millions of people are trapped in an endless cycle of desperation, crushing debt, dead-end jobs, and a society that doesn't care if they make it or not. Just like the players in Squid Game, they're forced to take risks that could cost them everything. And while they struggle, the rich, they thrive, they profit, they watch. The answer might be uncomfortable, but that's the point. Squid Game thrives on discomfort, on making us see the world not as we wish it were, but as it is. And as long as systems of inequality persist, the games, both fictional and real, will continue. Before you leave, consider this. Are you simply a spectator? Or will you take what you've learned and challenge the status quo? The choice, as always, is yours. Now, before you go, let me ask you for a small favor. Did you know that over 85% of viewers just watch and don't subscribe? Creating videos like this takes a lot of research, effort, and late nights. So, if you enjoyed this, why not show your support? Hit that subscribe button and help me grow this channel. It's free, it takes a second, and it means the world to me. And trust me, you'll want to stick around. The next video is all about Squid Game Season 2, what's coming, what's changing, and what might just blow your mind. See you in the next one. Until then,